Absolute joy to be here with you today. Um, I was invited here today to talk about a powerful and sometimes confusing teaching, and it is called chemicalization. Now, chemicalization was introduced into Unity through Emily Cady. Emily Cady was invited by Charles and Myrtle Fillmore to write a textbook for Unity. And so she wrote a book called Lessons in Truth. And as part of this book, she introduced this concept of chemicalization. Now, I have to tell you that Unity is plagued with this chapter in the book. When they've republished it, sometimes they take it out. And then they put it back in. And then they take it out. And then they put it back in. I happen to love this teaching. I think that it's a very powerful teaching. I think that it really speaks about the transformative power of grace. So, I'm going to begin with a quote from Charles Fillmore. And I'm going to invite you just to close your eyes. And I want you to take these words into your heart as if they're a prayer. It is your mission to express all that you can imagine God to be. Let this be your standard of achievement. Never lower it, nor allow yourself to be belittled by the cry of sacrilege. You can attain everything that you can imagine. If you can imagine that it is possible to God, it is also possible to you. Whatever possibility your mind conceives, that is for you to attain. This is the law. Let none belittle himself or dwarf the supreme by trying to annul it. So there's some real key points in this quote. It is your mission to express all that you can imagine God to be. So the question arises, how big is your God? By whatever name you call that presence, how big is your presence? Because you incarnated to express all that you can imagine that presence to be. Now, when I say that, what happens within your mind? Do all the reasons and excuses pop up? All the old beliefs about who you are, do they pop up and go, oh, no, I can't go there because? We all have those. And so we use some powerful tools in New Thought in order to really step into the power of our uniqueness. And these tools are denials and affirmations. Now, I talk about denials and affirmations because they are an important part of the process of chemicalization. Now, denial, I want to be clear, is not pretending that something didn't happen that happened. It's not pretending or sticking your head in the sand. It is about denying that something has power in your life. So I'll give you a personal example. Personal example would be when I was a little girl, my parents believed we were poor. My father, I have come to understand, believed pretty much in a caste system. His father was poor. He was poor. His children would be poor. Born poor, die poor. We were just born on the wrong side of the track. Accept it. Do not try to change it. Do not try to It was almost like there was a line and you weren't supposed to overstep your bounds and become anything greater than that. Now, that belief was embedded in me. And then I came into New Thought. And the first guest speaker that I heard was Reverend Edwin Gaines. Now, I don't know if any of you has anybody ever seen Edwin Gaines and listened to her talk? Because she is one powerful woman. And I have to say that I was a little taken aback because she was standing on the platform and she was talking about how you could achieve anything you wanted to achieve and how she would go about her life affirming that and living it, taking those steps to do things that would take her beyond her bounds of experience. And I took that in like a sponge. And I began to deny that my father's belief had any power in my life. I didn't have to hold that belief just because somebody else had that belief. And so I began to deny that. And I began to affirm that I was prosperous. I am prosperous. And it was like the gates of heaven opened. And I continued to deny the thoughts that came up about lack and limitation, to deny the thoughts about separation, and to affirm that I'm a living expression of God. And then one day, something happened. I like to call it a little bubble in consciousness that popped up. And it was like God left the building. Have you ever felt in your life like God left the building? And you're standing there and you're going, what happened? I've been doing it right, just like Hazel was talking about. I've been doing it right. I've been doing all the things that I'm supposed to do, and I was demonstrating such good in my life. And now I face this financial challenge, and I don't understand. What's up with that? So the best way for me to really describe this process of chemicalization, see, what Emily Cady said is that you go along and you're doing it and you're doing it and you're demonstrating and life is good, and then something happens and you kind of hit a little wall. She says not to fear. This is not the time to give up. This is the time to deny firmly. And this is what happens. So you've got your consciousness. You know, little beliefs in there, all those beliefs about who you are, who you should be, what life looks like. And you come along. This is my science experiment. And you pour in some truth. And there is a chemical process that takes place when you pour the truth in. This is the power of chemicalization. See, because what happens is there's that little belief down in there somewhere that hasn't come up to be revealed yet. You haven't been ready to have that revealed. And so there's that little belief that is down there. And so you have that little belief, and it has a chemical reaction. Now we know that as we affirm the truth of who we are, as we affirm this truth of who we are, then it changes us, not just inside, but it changes our physical being. We have more energy. We experience healings. Our life is not the same. Our relationships shift. Our outer world and how we see the outer world changes and shifts. And then we have this little belief that pops up and says, look at me. So I have a prayer that I have used from early on that has had great meaning in my life that I would like to share with you this morning. That I use when I am experiencing a little chemicalization in my life. It goes like this. It's actually called the Grace Prayer. It was written by a Unity minister somewhere in the late 80s, early 90s. For thee I thirst. Into thy hands I commit my spirit, my soul, my body, my life, this problem, all unforgiven states. Thy will is my will. Thy will be done through me. Heal me at depth. Reveal that which needs to be revealed, and heal that which needs to be healed, so that I can glorify you, God, and live in the fullness of grace. It is finished. Reveal that which needs to be revealed, and heal that which needs to be healed, has often been interpreted to reveal what's wrong with me. And over the course of the last couple of years, I've come to understand it in a different way. What if it's actually reveal my glory? What if it's actually reveal to me the God presence that I am, so that I may truly live that? Now, what happens when we really begin to own that is there is going to be a chemical reaction in our bodies. Now, that chemical reaction doesn't necessarily look like the little chemical reaction I did here. No, it's much more fun. Yeah, I'm really thrilled to be talking about this. Why can't I talk about the fun stuff? Yeah, let me talk about joy. It shows up oftentimes as maybe indigestion or digestive challenges. You may become allergic to something that you've never been allergic to before, or sensitive to something, a food. You may have allergies one season, and you're going, what's this? I've never had allergies before. You may cry unexpectedly for no apparent reason, or laugh uncontrollably. Have you ever done that? Have you ever just somebody says something and you start laughing and you're thinking in your mind, it's not that funny. And you can't stop, you just keep laughing hysterically. You can be hot, you can be cold, you can be depressed, you can have lots and lots of energy, you can need more sleep, or you may have periods where you can't sleep at all. It's all a physical reaction. And the thing that was really important to me about recognizing what was going on with me physically helped me to understand what I needed to do spiritually. I needed to stand in my truth. That as I stood in my truth during those times, that's when it would pass. Now you notice that the chemicalization process was rather quick. It's not something that lingered on. It passes through. It's just a process that passes through. It's not anything to be afraid of. It's actually a sign that you're doing it right. It's a sign that there is activity going on within your soul at a deep level, at an unconscious level, that this activity is going on. And there's one more thing I want to say about this, and that is that Ernest Holmes says that there is one mind. One mind. So it's not about just cleaning out your subconscious mind. That every time that we speak truth, every time we deny a false appearance, we heal the collective subconscious mind. We heal the world. We make a difference. And so when we go through a period of chemicalization, we can actually celebrate knowing I'm making a difference in the world. I'm making a difference in healing, bringing into alignment all aspects of mind. Namaste. So I'm going to pop down here, and I'm going to invite you again to take these words into your heart, but I'm going to say them as if you were speaking them yourself. We're going to own them personally. So I just invite you to take in a breath and center yourself. And that awareness of the presence right here, right now. One presence, one power, active as the universe and as my life. And in a recognition of this one presence, I know it is my mission to express all that I can imagine God to be. Let this be my standard of achievement. I will never lower it, nor allow myself to be belittled by the cry of sacrilege. I can attain everything that I can imagine. If I imagine that it is possible to God, it is possible to me. Whatever possibility my mind conceives, that is for me to attain. This is the law. I will not belittle myself or dwarf the supreme by trying to annul it. And so it is.
And let's sing this song. Thank you again, Reverend Charli. Let the love